Hi, I'm Dr. Aimie, and I wanted to share a story with you. A story that just happened recently with one of my patients, and we're working with him on recovering from some traumatic experiences that would have started in early childhood for him, but certainly compounded by different things in his life, some of which happened as a result of his coping mechanisms and poor choices that got him in those situations. Either way, re-traumatizing and certainly compounded to the point where now he definitely has PTSD. Very hypervigilant, sees threat everywhere, always has to keep himself kind of in that high charged state, meaning that being relaxed, calm is very uncomfortable, unfamiliar for him, and so he creates a threat if there is no threat, picks a fight in order to still feel alive, because otherwise he kind of goes into this mental and emotional collapse that is very uncomfortable, but we know is the freeze response, and that's very uncomfortable for his nervous system, obviously. So what happened was I was doing some work with him, and I was introducing kind of the next layer of material that we were working on with his nervous system. And based on my own work in this area, I knew that I needed to go slow and gentle because it can get overwhelming, and overwhelming puts us back in the freeze response. So even though I was going slow, it got to the point where I could tell that he was kind of that deer in the headlights point where it was too much. He wasn't able to take in anymore. And I now know that this is a form of dissociation, and that he was physically with me and actually still talking with me, but emotionally and mentally he was in shutdown mode and thinking of something else, which is normal. I mean, this is the ultimate self-protection, and it's a great coping mechanism in the right scenarios. So noticing this, I pulled back, we talked some, and then I asked him how he was feeling. And this is a classic trauma answer. Oh, I'm feeling good. Great. So I asked him, how do you know that you're feeling good? And he was actually able to express that he didn't know why he thought he felt good, and that he actually felt confused and had no idea what he was feeling. This is actually some degree of awareness that many people with histories of trauma do not have yet. They don't know that they feel good, and they are confused, but they don't know that they're confused. So what we're able to do, though, is that when they are confused and when they're trying to figure out what it is that they're feeling, we can help them out by going objectively to their body. And this will always hold true. And so this is where I went with him. And so I said, I want you to tell me how you feel your heart right now. Is it beating really fast? Is it pounding? Or is it at a regular rate? Is it, racing? What is your heart doing right now? And so he paused, and pretty quickly he was able to say, it's beating pretty fast. It's actually pounding. And I know that this is, a sympathetic activation and threat response. And so I asked him, and is this a good feeling for you? Is this a comfortable feeling for you? And he said, actually, no, it's not. Okay. So then I had him pay attention to how his chest was feeling. And without even having to give him options of different feelings that his chest might have, which would be, is the chest feeling tight, or is it feeling open? Is it feeling restricted? Does it feel easy to breathe? Those are some of the options I usually give people if they don't even know how they feel physically. he was able to say pretty quickly, "It feels like an elephant is sitting on my chest." Okay, now this is obviously a sympathetic threat response, survival response as well. So I had him, I asked him whether this was a good feeling, a comfortable feeling. No way, an elephant sitting on my chest is not a good feeling. So at that point, we were able to laugh together because we could see that he had replied to my initial question of, "How are you feeling?" And his response had been good, when actually he was not feeling good, but he hadn't known what he was feeling, and he thought that I wanted to hear that he was feeling good, so that's what he said. Classic trauma answer. You don't know what you're feeling, and that's a very vague question, and many times they're going to tell you that they feel good because that's what they think you want to hear. And they also know, this is sort of some of the psychology of trauma, is that if you feel good, if they can make sure that you are okay, then they know that they're going to be okay because you're not going to go crazy on them. You're not going to become chaotic, out of control. And so they're so tuned in to everybody else around them and making sure that everybody else is under control, calm, and then they feel okay. But they are so out of tune with their own body that he had no idea before we paid attention to it that while he told me he was feeling good, his heart was actually racing, pounding, and his chest felt like an elephant was sitting on it. So he was able to express then that, "You're right, this was too much and we need to stop this, and that's why I'm feeling this way." So we put away all the materials that we were working with, and then we checked in with him again. And again, I asked the question, not "How are you feeling?" because at this point I know that he doesn't know how he's feeling. So we just checked in with the specific feelings of his heart and his chest. What is your heart doing now? Is it beating just as fast? Is it beating faster? Or is it beating more slow and calm? And his heart rate had definitely come down. We checked in, just kind of had him feel what his chest felt like. And even while we were doing this, I could see him sitting back. His shoulders were kind of coming back. I could see that his breath was easier and he was having larger, bigger breaths. And so I knew that his chest was feeling more open, which is, again, shifting towards the parasympathetic, where we want our nervous systems when we're recovering from trauma. And he was able to feel that difference. And in fact, with more time, with even just a few more minutes, he was saying, like, now not only is my chest feeling more relaxed and open, but my shoulders and my arms are feeling more relaxed. And so we were able to, kind of pause and take that in, because for him and his degree of PTSD, that was a big deal for him to be able to even feel relaxed or even have some part of his body that felt relaxed. So I wanted to share this story with you because if you are someone who's working with a person who has a history of trauma, asking them how they feel is often not going to give you a very accurate answer, because they have no idea how they feel, and they sometimes will just give you the answer that they want you to hear so that you will be okay, and then they think they will be okay. And so really being able to say, I like to ask the question, how do you know that you're feeling good? And this usually just completely puzzles them. They have no idea how to answer that because they have no idea how their body feels. They are often what we call dissociated, where they are very disconnected from their own body and their body feelings. So helping them learn where the clues are and how to find what their nervous system is doing by looking objectively at their heart rate, and looking objectively at their breath. And again, this is not going to be, you're forcing yourself to do deep breathing. No, that's not going to be an accurate read of the nervous system. It needs to be something natural, spontaneous, And just at this moment, how's your chest feeling? Does it feel tight, restricted, pressure? Or is it feeling relaxed, open, easy to breathe? And then that's how they start to understand how they feel, whether when they feel those things, their heart pounding or their chest tight, or the opposite. Is this a comfortable feeling? Is this a good feeling? Or is this not comfortable, not a good feeling? And then then they will really actually be able to know how they're feeling. I'm actually feeling quite scared right now. Okay, I'm actually feeling quite overwhelmed right now, rather than just always kind of giving the quota answer of, oh, I'm good, or I'm fine, I'm okay. That really doesn't give them or yourself much information when we're asking those questions to people who have histories of trauma, because they're too disconnected from their bodies to really know how they're feeling. I hope this has been helpful, and I certainly encourage you to leave stories that you have of working with people or yourself and trying to understand the feelings and expressing those feelings and being able to look to the body objectively for starting to understand those feelings in the body.